Have you ever been mistaken for someone's dealer at detox? The intake nurse at Serenity Springs looked at me suspiciously when I signed in to visit my brother. You're on his approved list? She asked, scanning her computer screen twice. I'm his brother, Jeremy Huang. I should be there. She found my name, but kept glancing between me and the screen like something didn't add up. You'll need to empty your pockets and submit to a search. I'd been through this routine for the past 3 weeks since Tommy checked himself in, but today felt different. The security guard was thorough, too thorough, checking my shoe lining and the seams of my jacket. When I finally got to the visiting room, Tommy wasn't alone. A guy I'd never seen before was sitting at our usual table, twitchy and thin in that way that screamed new arrival. Tommy looked uncomfortable when he saw me. Hey, I said, sitting down carefully. The stranger's eyes were darting between us like he was watching a tennis match. This is Rodney, Tommy said quietly. He's confused. You're Ghost, right? Rodney interrupted, leaning forward. Tommy said you'd hook me up. My stomach dropped. I'm Jeremy, Tommy's brother. Rodney laughed, showing too many teeth. Right, brother. That's what they all say. He turned to Tommy. You said he'd bring the stuff. Where is it? Rodney, I told you. That's not. Tommy started, but Rodney was already standing up. This is bullshit. You promised. He was getting loud. Other visitors were staring. Everyone knows Ghost can get anything inside. Tommy said you were the best. A counselor was already heading our way. I recognized her. Patricia, who'd been working with Tommy. She looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Suspicion. Everything okay here? She asked, but she was watching me, not Rodney. He won't give me what Tommy promised, Rodney whined. Patricia's jaw tightened. Jeremy, can you come with me, please? I looked at Tommy, who couldn't meet my eyes. We followed Patricia to a small office where the facility director was waiting. My heart was racing. We've had some concerns raised, the director said, about potential contraband. I've never brought anything. Rodney seems to think otherwise, and he knew to ask for someone called Ghost. That's when it clicked. In high school, kids called me Ghost because I was quiet and could sneak out of class without teachers noticing. Tommy must have mentioned the old nickname in group therapy, and Rodney's desperate brain had constructed a whole fantasy around it. Check the visitor logs, I said. Check the cameras. I've never brought anything illegal in here. Then why does Rodney think you're his dealer? Tommy finally spoke up from the doorway where Patricia had let him follow. Because I'm an idiot. His voice was thick. I was telling stories in group about growing up. Mentioned my brother's nickname, how he was so smooth in school. Rodney's been detoxing hard. He's paranoid and desperate. He convinced himself Jeremy was some kind of dealer who could sneak him drugs. The director looked skeptical. That's quite a leap. You don't understand, Tommy continued. Rodney's been here 4 days. He's climbing the walls. He's convinced everyone is either hiding drugs or selling them. Yesterday he accused the cafeteria lady of putting meth in the mashed potatoes. They searched me again anyway. More thorough this time. They tested my hands for residue, went through my car in the parking lot, found nothing because there was nothing to find. I worked at an accounting firm. The wildest thing in my car was an overdue library book, but the damage was done. Other patients had heard Rodney's accusations. Some believed them. Suddenly I was getting knowing looks and subtle requests every time I visited. One woman slipped me her mother's phone number, thinking it was code. A man tried to pay me for something I wasn't selling with commissary credits. The staff started treating me differently too. Double searches became triple searches. My visits were monitored more closely. Patricia pulled me aside one day and said, I believe you're clean, but perception matters here. Your presence might be triggering for some patients. I wanted to scream that I'd been visiting my brother faithfully through his entire recovery, that I'd never done anything wrong, but I understood. In a detox facility, suspicion spreads like a virus. Tommy completed his program 2 weeks later. On his last day, Rodney found me in the parking lot. He'd been released the day before. I'm sorry, man, he said, looking clearer than I'd ever seen him. I was messed up. Thought everyone was hiding something from me. It's okay, I said, though it wasn't really. Your brother's lucky to have you, he added. Not many people keep showing up after something like that. Tommy's been clean for 6 months now. He still apologizes sometimes for the Ghost thing. I tell him it's fine, that I understand addiction makes people desperate. But sometimes I wonder how many people from that place still think I was dealing. How many stories are being told about the dealer who was so smooth he never got caught.